Good morning, everyone. My name is Leah Sheerin. I'm the Employer Liaison Officer at NILGOSC, and with me today I have Sinead Nicholson, my colleague, who is our Communications Officer at NILGOSC. We are here today to talk to you about your scheme benefits for your local government pension scheme, NI, or NILGOSC. Thank you all very, very much for coming. Some of you may have been at the event on Wednesday, which was focused on pension awareness. Both of the events are to do with Pension Awareness Week. The only difference with this event today is that whereas the Pension Awareness event on Wednesday would have focused almost completely on the care scheme, so that's anyone with membership after 1st of April 2015. This presentation today will also focus on membership before or pre-1st of April 2015, or final salary membership as we call it. So that's the only difference today. Again, anyone who was at Wednesday's pension awareness event, you may notice that a good bit of the information is repeated from that because it's the key information we need to say in any presentation like this. You will see though that there is, as I say, some differences in terms of that final salary membership being touched on as well. Bit of housekeeping very quickly first. As Sinead said there, we are muting all attendee microphones during the presentation. This is just to keep questions to the very end so that we can get through the presentation and the demo of My NILGOSC Pension Online, which Sinead will do in good time. Please keep any questions for the end, and you will be invited at the end to raise your hand if you have a question and unmute yourself. Alternatively, you can put a question in the chat or the Q&A section. We are recording this session today, and it will then be posted on our website at a later date. So that recording will be made available once it is checked. For this reason, all attendee cameras have been disabled. So you'll notice that it's just myself and Sinead's cameras that are usually on today, and your camera will be automatically off. All questions asked at the end will also be cut from the final recording that's posted to the website. So any questions that are asked at the end won't show up in the ultimate recording. Please note, really important, this seminar today is only for members of the local government pension scheme NI or NILGOSC, and any prospective members, so people that are thinking of joining NILGOSC, and specifically people who can join NILGOSC. For any teaching staff or lecturers, a lot of this information won't apply to you because you won't be a member of the pension scheme. So please just ensure that if your employers share this event with you and you are a teacher or a lecturer, the odds are that you are not a member of the pension scheme, and a lot of the information won't apply to you today. If you are one of those people, you're absolutely welcome to stay on for the call and to keep joining us, but just be aware that a lot of the information may not apply. As mentioned before, this seminar focuses on both care benefits, which is anything from 1st of April 2015 onwards, and also final salary benefits, which is basically everything before 1st of April 2015. Looking at the content then, so what we'll be covering in today's seminar. First of all, we'll be looking at the summary of your benefits. So what are the benefits of being a member of NILGOSC, of being a member of the LGPS NI? We'll look at joining the scheme, so how most members will end up being a member of the scheme. We'll look at then what does it cost to be a member of the scheme and avail of the benefits that are attached to your membership. We'll look at how your pension is worked out. We'll look at how you can increase your pension benefits, and there are a few options to do that. We'll look at what happens if you want to leave the scheme before you retire. We'll look at the different types of retirements. We'll look at death benefits that are attached to your membership of NILGOSC. And then we'll look at a demonstration of My NILGOSC Pension Online, which is our online portal, our online member portal, and Sinead will be taking us through that. Lastly, we'll look at preparing for your retirement and a few things to remember and keep in mind to help you as much as possible prepare for your retirement. And then at the very, very end, as I said before, we'll have some time for questions and answers. So what is a pension with the LGPS NI? Or what is a pension with NILGOSC? Firstly, it's a defined benefit pension. So our scheme is a defined benefit pension scheme. And what that means is your pension is calculated based on your pay, how many years you've been a scheme member, and then an accrual rate is added to that each year as well. It's a career average revalued earnings scheme, or a CARE scheme. And what this means is every year that you are in the scheme, you build up a pension at 1/49th of your pensionable pay for that year. So every single year you're in the scheme, we take your pensionable pay for that year, we divide it by 49, and that amount gets directly added to your pension pot and built up each year. It is payable for life. Your NILGOSC pension is payable for life, which is a really, really good benefit of the NILGOSC scheme. So rather than just having a pension pot at the end of retirement that you take and that is whittled away over time, your NILGOSC pension is calculated in a way that it's supposed to be payable for the rest of your life up until your death. And finally, it's index linked as well. What this means is that it increases in line with inflation through an annual adjustment. So every single year we look at the inflation rates and we apply that rate to your pension build-up. And it basically helps to offset the effects of rising prices each year. Looking at the benefits that are provided to you as a member of NILGOSC. Firstly, your benefits are payable at your normal pension age. So whenever you come to your normal pension age, you can take your benefits unreduced from NILGOSC. There are early and late retirement options as well. So if you need to retire early, you can do that after the age of 55 onwards and up to your normal pension age. That would be an early retirement. Of course, there will be some actuarial reductions applied to that if you do retire early, and we will touch on that soon on another slide. And as I say, late retirement options are also available if you do want to stay and work on past your normal retirement age. We have ill health protection attached to your benefits as well. So if you are suffering from ill health and you need to retire because of that specifically, we have protections in place for that too. So you can access your benefits at that point. And I'll come on. Said ill health protection is available, and we have a whole slide on that later in the presentation. So more on that soon. There are death benefits available as well that are part of your benefits for NILGOSC as part of your membership. And this includes life cover, and it also includes survivors' pensions. And again, we'll touch on that in a later slide. There's also redundancy protection if you're made redundant by your employer. And you can also, there's also an option to pay extra to increase your pension benefits. Looking at then how most members will join the scheme. Most members will join the scheme through what we call contractual enrolment, which means that as part of your contract, when you join your employer assesses you based on what your contract looks like. And if you meet a few requirements, then your employer will contractually enrol you in the pension scheme. The requirements are if you are under the age of 75 and if you have a contract of employment for more than 3 months. So when you start employment with a scheme employer, so an employer who has members within the Northern Ireland Local Government Pension Scheme, and you meet those 2 bullet points there, then you will be contractually enrolled into the pension scheme. You can choose to opt out of the scheme at any time, and then in turn you can choose to opt back in if you want to. If your contract is for less than, sorry everyone, can you please make sure that you're muted and you don't unmute yourself? Thank you. If your contract is for less than 3 months, you can choose to join the scheme. So even if you don't meet those 2 bullet points there, so you don't meet the bullet points for contractual enrolment, if your contract is for less than 3 months, you can still choose to join the scheme. You just need to speak to your employer and ask them. Looking then at how your pension is worked out, in the main section of the scheme, so if you are a member of the main section rather than the 50-50 section, how your pension is worked out in the care section of the scheme is your total pension will pay for the year divided by 49. And that gets directly added to your pension pot. If you're in the 50-50 section of the scheme, which is another option available, which means that you contribute less to your contribute less into the pension scheme, and then you build up less benefits in turn, and more on that in another slide. But in the 50-50 section, it's your total pension will pay for the year divided by 98 rather than the 49. So it just means you're paying less contributions, but you're also building up less pension each year. So an example there is if you're earning a pension pay figure of £20,000 per year divided by 98, then you are looking to build up an annual pension of £204.08. If you are somebody with multiple jobs, multiple employments within the pension scheme, there will be a separate pension account for each employment, and your pension account is then increased each year in line with inflation. So as I said before, it's index linked. How your care pension builds up then, so this is the section of the scheme, everything that's built up after the 1st of April 2015. When we talk about care, or the care section of the scheme, we say that every year counts because, as you can see here in this example, and these are all sample figures for a sample member, every single year counts in the care scheme, because as you go up in years of membership, each year you are building up that 1/49th of your pensionable pay. So you can see here, they start out with, when they join in year 1, with a £0 balance of their pension because they haven't built up anything yet. In that year, they receive £23,500 of pensionable pay. We take that, we divide it by 49, that's directly added to their pension pot. We also apply a revaluation rate. They wouldn't have had it in this first year, but that'll start building up from the next year onwards. So you'll see that revaluation rate, which keeps it index linked in line with inflation. That'll build up each year and be added on as well. So you can see here how their balance in their pension pot starts to build up each year from £479.59 right up to £3,054 of annual pension at year 5. And that'll keep going up that way. You can see that their annual pensionable pay has increased, decreased, and so on there. And it's really just depending on what that annual pensionable pay figure is at the end of the year, divided by 49, revalued as well to keep it in line with inflation. And it's added on to their pension savings from the previous year, and then they get their annual figure at the end of that year. So that is if you joined, or that is if you have membership of the scheme after 1st of April 2015. What if you joined before April 2015? How is your pension worked out any time before that? So we split this into 2 different parts of membership. So we call it the 80th scheme and the 60th scheme. They're both known as final salary. So there's the final salary part of your pension benefits, which is anything built up to 31st of March 2015. After that, it's all care. With the 80th scheme, this is everything built up before 1st of April 2009. The way this would have been, the way this is worked out at your retirement is your final pay figure multiplied by the length of membership in the scheme divided by 80. So it's a different divisor that's used, and we use the final pay from your employer as well. That gives your annual pension figure. So you can see an example there. So sample figure, £26,900 of final pay multiplied by 5 years of being in the scheme, divided by that divisor of 80, gives you £1,682 of annual pension. Now, if you were part of the scheme or a member of the scheme before 1st of April 2009, so a part of the 80th scheme, you'll see there's a second bullet point there as well. And this is for the automatic or standard lump sum. This only applies for members of the scheme before 1st of April 2009. After that point, you'll notice that you are not entitled to an automatic or standard lump sum. And the way the standard lump sum or the automatic lump sum was worked out for members before 1st of April 2009 is final pay multiplied by length of membership multiplied by 3 divided by 80. That gives you the standard lump sum. So a member, for example, who has this amount of annual pension from their standard benefits before 1st of April 2009, and they're also entitled to an automatic lump sum as part of that membership. If they have that pay, they're multiplying it by the 5 years of membership, multiplying it by 3, dividing it by 80, and that's going to give them a lump sum of £5,046, and that's tax-free. So they'll have their annual pension figure, and they'll also have their lump sum paid to them as well. Then if you're in the scheme from 1st of April 2009 up to 31st of March 2015, that's the 60th part of the final salary scheme. That is the way you would work that out is final pay multiplied by the length of your membership divided by 60, and that'll give you your annual pension figure. As you'll notice, there's no second bullet point there because membership after 1st of April 2009 doesn't include the standard or automatic lump sum. So whereas that's included there, it'll not show up here. And indeed, care scheme as well from 1st of April 2015 onwards won't have an automatic or standard lump sum applied to it either. So the way that's worked out is their final pay figure multiplied by the length of membership divided by 60 rather than the 80, and that'll give you the annual pension figure. So a member like this sample member, if they have a membership before 1st of April 2009 right up to 31st of March 2015, they'll have their pension figure from the 80th section of the scheme, they'll have their automatic lump sum from the 80th section of the scheme, and then they'll also have the pension figure from the 60th section of the scheme, and that's the 2242 figure there. At retirement, that is worked out, and that would be added together then, and it would also be added to any care benefits that they have after 1st of April 2015. So what it would look like, again, if that member has been a member of the scheme since before 1st of April 2009, they were a member of the scheme after that up to 31st of March 2015, and then they also were a member after that in the care section of the scheme from 1st of April 2015 onwards. You'll see how this all gets added together to give them a full annual pension figure whenever they come to retire. So they'll have, for example, a care pension figure of £3,054. From the 60th part of their membership, they'll have £2,242, and from the 80th part of their membership, they'll have £1,682. That gives them a gross annual pension figure of £6,978. And because this member, remember, has 60th part of the scheme, they will also have that automatic or standard lump sum attached to their benefits, and that's paid as £5,046, and that is a tax-free lump sum that's payable to them. At retirement, the different elements of their benefits will be calculated and then added together in much the same way as on that slide there. And it'll give you the overall amount of annual pension and, if applicable, that standard tax-free lump sum. To try to make it a wee bit more simple, we sometimes refer to the different elements of membership as tiers of a cake. A very blue-looking cake, I know. Some members will have all 4 tiers. So if, like that sample member there, they joined before 1st of April 2009, they will have all of the tiers of the cake if they're still a member after 1st of April 2015 as part of the care scheme, because they've built up membership right through all of these different sections of the scheme. You note there these 2 tiers are the same colour. That's because anything before 31st of March 2009 or anything up to 31st of March 2009 in that 80th section of the scheme also has that automatic retirement grant or automatic lump sum attached to it. Then you have the 60th part of the final salary scheme, and then after that, from 1st of April 2015 onwards, you have the care section of the scheme. So some people will have, like this sample member, will have all 4 tiers of the cake. Some people will only have 2. So some people will have joined from 1st of April onwards, will have a bit of final salary membership, and they'll also have care. And then some people who have joined from 1st of April 2015 onwards will only have that tier there. They'll only have the care part of their membership. Looking then at pension options on retirement. So when you come to retire, what are your different options available to you? 2 main options here. You can either take your standard benefits that are built up. So for example, if you're looking at an annual pension figure of £6,978, so you can just take that. That's your annual pension payable, unreduced from your normal pension age. Option 2, you can look at converting some of your annual pension into lump sum. So you can give up some of your annual pension figure of £6,978 and turn that into some lump sum for yourself. The way that is worked out, that conversion rate, is £12 of lump sum is gained for every single £1 of pension that you give up. So that annual pension figure of £6,978, if you were willing to give up a certain amount of that figure, you can then get £12 for every £1 that you give up of the annual pension. It is, of course, subject to HMRC limits, and the maximum tax-free lump sum limit is £268,275. Anything beyond that will be, we would advise that you discuss that with one of our administrators, because tax will be applied and it gets a wee bit technical. But certainly up to £268,275, that is the maximum tax-free lump sum limit that's available. Really important to remember, if you are looking at the conversion option, so converting some of your annual pension into a lump sum figure, important to remember that lump sum is one-off, whereas your standard pension benefits are payable for life. So that's £6,978 of standard benefits. That is going to be payable for that member's life. If they give up some of that for lump sum, that's going to be reduced a bit, and that lump sum will be used up over time. And once it's gone, it is gone. There is an option to make the maximum conversion to get the maximum lump sum that you can potentially get from giving up annual pension, again within HMRC limits, and I'll show you that on the next slide here. What it would look like for that specific member if they came to retire and they want to look at their maximum lump sum option. So I want to get the maximum lump sum I can potentially get from that annual pension figure. So they start off here with an annual pension figure of £6,978. Again, we're using the same sample member from before, so we know that because they were a member of the scheme before 1st of April 2009, they also have that standard automatic lump sum applied to them. So they also have that 5,046 lump sum available at retirement automatically. If they then want to look at the maximum lump sum conversion, so their standard lump sum stays the same, they're not giving up any of that, it's the annual pension figure that's going to change. So you notice here, if they go for the maximum lump sum conversion, that then reduces the annual pension from £6,978 to £4,756. In turn, they are then going to get a tax-free lump sum of £31,708. And as you can see here, that standard lump sum there of 5,046 stays the same. That hasn't been touched at all. Again, just keep in mind, it is a very attractive option and people choose it for lots of different reasons, helping to pay off mortgage whenever it comes to retirement, maybe paying for, a child's wedding and so on. Please just remember that the value of lump sum may not replace the value of the pension that's given up, and your lump sum is a one-off lump sum. And again, that standard lump sum that's shown in the example there, if you don't have one, it's just because you may not have joined the scheme before 1st of April 2009. Sinead will show us in the My NILGOSC Pension Online demo soon that you can use the calculator on our online portal to get an idea of your benefits. And that calculator also includes a slider for optional lump sum conversion. So Sinead will show us, as I say, how you move that slider up and down to show you, okay, if I want to get this amount of lump sum, how's that going to reduce my annual pension figure? And you can weigh up your options for yourself that way. Looking then at, so we've talked about the benefits of being a member of the scheme, how your pension's worked out, how you can expect to build up pension each year as a member of the scheme. Looking then at what does it actually cost to be a member of the scheme. Firstly, you pay employee contributions every single month to the scheme, and this is taken by your employer through your pay. These employee contributions are set by regulations, so the rates of employee contributions are set by regulations. The rate is assigned based on your earnings, so your pensionable pay. Your employer will look at the brackets that are here, so the pensionable pay brackets, and they will assign the rate based on that. So for example, if you're earning a pensionable pay figure each year of anything up to £18,300, your employer would put you into that bracket there, so that that band, your contribution rate band, then would be 5.5% paying every single month. And again, that just goes up for higher earners. You'll notice that the contribution rate does go up in the scheme. So as an employee, you are paying in contributions into the pension scheme each month. Really good thing to note is that your employer is also paying in, and your employer has to pay in. They're part of your contributions each month too. For most employers of the scheme, this will be 19%. Some smaller employers will have a specific rate applied to them, but most on the whole, most employers will be paying that 19%, and they're paying that towards your membership of the scheme as well. If you're in the 50-50 section of the scheme, I mentioned that before, that is a way of paying half the contributions. You do need to apply for the 50-50 section to join it. You pay half the contributions, your employer still pays the full rate, which is great. So the 19% doesn't get halved or anything as well. Your employer still pays that full rate, even though you're paying half. Of course, because you're paying half the contributions, it means that your build-up of pension is not going to be as much. You're going to start building up pension at half the rate, i.e. your pay is going to be, so your annual pay figure is going to be divided by 98 and that amount added to your pension pot rather than the divided by 49. We usually view the 50-50 section as a short-term option for members, especially if a member is going through, say, for example, a period of financial hardship. The 50-50 section is a good way of them being able to stay in the scheme without having to opt out, still paying into their pension. You still get the full protection of ill health, redundancy and death benefits as well attached to it. So a really good option for people who are in a position where they can't afford to pay the full contribution rate. They can still stay in the scheme and just pay half the contributions. You'll see there the contribution bands have just been halved. So again, you're going by your pay rate each year, your pension will pay each year, and the contribution rate that's applied to that has just been halved there. You can rejoin the main scheme at any time, so the main section of the scheme can be rejoined, and again you can opt back into the 50-50 section whenever you want or whenever you need. There isn't a limit on the amount of times that you can join the main section, go into the 50/50 section and so on. Just again, remember that your pension will not build up as quickly in the 50/50 section of the scheme. If you do wish to join the 50/50 section on our website, where there is the section for member resources and member forms, there's the LGS 12 form, which is to join the 50/50 section. You fill that in and send it in to us. And there's the LGS 11 form, which is to rejoin the main section of the scheme. And again, those are both available via the website. Important to note, if you are part of the 50/50 section of the scheme, you may notice that your employer starts bringing you back into the main section of the scheme at regular intervals. This is because they are required under law to, it's automatic enrolment legislation we call it, they are required to bring you back into the main section at regular intervals. So if you are in the 50/50 section for quite a long time, you'll notice that your employer starts bringing you back into the main section every once in a while. You can, of course, straight away, if you want to, opt back into the 50/50 section. Looking at then how you can increase your pension. We have two different options to do this. There are APCs, which are additional pension contributions, and those are payable via NILGOSC. The second option is AVCs, or additional voluntary contributions, and those are payable via our AVC provider, our in-house provider, which is Prudential. We do have a lot of information on our website on boosting your pension. The link is there at the bottom of the slide. And you can see up in the top right-hand corner, our guide is available on our website as well, which is for increasing your retirement benefits. Lots of useful information in there as well. Looking at that first option, additional pension contributions, or APCs, they are paid to NILGOSC. Through an APC, you can buy up to £8,823 of extra pension for yourself. Emphasis there on the for yourself part. This extra pension that you buy is only for you. So a common question we get is, what happens to my APCs if I die in service? And the thing is, they're only for you, so that means that they won't increase the benefits of any survivors. With APCs, you can either choose to pay by regular contribution, or you can pay by lump sum to NILGOSC. You know upfront how much pension is being purchased, so an APC can be a popular option if you really want to know, I pay this amount towards an APC and I get this much extra pension at the end, and that is guaranteed. The cost of the APC, so the cost of actually paying and buying additional pension contributions, it's based on your age at the time that you start the APC and the length of the contract that you choose to pay over. It's also dependent on passing a good health medical check. So that is required for that too. I've just put in brackets there the current cost of that good health medical check, which is payable by the member. So you would have to pay that yourself. You have to pass that good health medical check to be able to start paying towards an APC. Your employer can contribute as a shared cost APC. That is at their discretion completely, so you can speak to your employer about that. They will usually have some sort of a policy internally about when they pay towards a shared cost APC and when they don't. An APC can also be used for buying lost pensions due to strike. So some members may have experienced this before, where they have been involved in industrial action or strike action, or indeed members who were on unpaid leave and weren't building up pension benefits during that time. An APC can be used to apply to cover lost pension. So any gaps in your pension benefits because of that. And I'll show you where you would apply for the APCs as well after this, and how to apply for the two different options, either just covering lost pension or just paying for additional pension contributions to actually build up and boost your pension. The way you apply for an APC, you apply via an LGS 27A form, and that's available on our website as well. Please note, if you're in the 50/50 section of the scheme, you can't apply for an APC. You can only apply for an APC if you're in the main section of the scheme. At the end of each scheme year, the proportion of that additional pension that you've bought in that year through an APC is added to your pension account, and then it just builds up that way. So it gets added to your normal care pension account, and it builds up each year in line with that. Looking at APCs, again, there's an APC calculator on our website. I will show you that just when I'm doing the demo of the website, a very quick demo of the website. There are two calculators there. There is a calculator for buying extra pension, and there's a calculator for buying lost pension, so to cover lost pension due to a strike or unpaid leave. So I'll show you those two different options when we come on to that. Looking then at the second option for boosting your pension benefits, there are AVCs or additional voluntary contributions. Whereas the APCs are paid to NILGOSC, AVCs are paid via Prudential, who is our in-house AVC provider. Again, with AVCs, you can either choose to pay by regular contribution or by lump sum to Prudential, and they invest those contributions on your behalf. You build up an AVC fund, so separate little AVC fund with your contributions to your AVC, and then also the returns on your investment are added to that too. You choose your investment options whenever you go and take out an AVC with Prudential, and you also choose the level of risk. So I think usually they would start you out, if you're younger and you start an AVC, you'd be started at maybe a higher level of risk at that point. And as you get older and closer to retirement, that level of risk is usually brought down. But I think you do still, I'd have to check with Prudential, but I think you do still maintain control over that, of the level of risk that you want attached to it. You can use your AVCs then to buy either additional pension, or you can take it as cash at retirement, tax-free cash. This is, of course, subject to tax rules. So whenever you come to retire and claim your pension, if you have an AVC built up, we will show you your benefit options on that and your options to take it as tax-free cash or additional pension. Because additional voluntary contributions, in contrast to the additional pension contributions, they're an investment. So it's important to note that if you go for an AVC, the value of your fund can go up or down because it's attached to the investments. Apply via Prudential. So application for an AVC is via Prudential's website, and I will show you that whenever I come to show you the website as well. For AVCs, you can contribute up to the level of your pay after deductions in any pay period. So you can up to the top level of your pay every single pay period after deductions are taken already. You can also choose to actively manage your fund for an AVC, or you can choose to passively manage it, which just means that Prudential does it for you. Coming then to look at what happens if you leave the scheme before retirement. So what are the options? If you leave the scheme before retirement and you have less than 2 years membership in the scheme built up, you will be applicable for a refund of contributions. So your contributions will be paid back to you. If you leave the scheme before retirement and you have more than 2 years membership built up, then you are looking at having deferred benefits in the scheme. So you won't be applicable for a refund of your contributions. We will keep the deferred benefits that you have built up. They will, your pension account will be closed. Your pension that it has been accumulated up to your date of leaving the scheme gets increased still each year in line with inflation. So even though you've left and your deferred benefits are kept within your pension pot in NILGOSC until your normal pension age, those benefits start to accumulate every year in line with inflation. You can transfer your benefits out to another pension provider if you have deferred benefits within NILGOSC. As far as I know, we don't have a timeline for when you have to do that to transfer out your benefits when you're deferred, but it'll just depend on what your receiving scheme, so your new pension scheme that you want to take those benefits to, it'll depend on what their timelines that they apply are. If you rejoin the scheme after having deferred benefits, you may be able to aggregate your two pension pots. So your new pension pot may be able to be added to your deferred pension pot, which means that those two pension pots will become one. Coming on then to look at the different types of retirement. Firstly, we have voluntary retirement, which is what most members will take, and that's your normal retirement. Or voluntary retirement basically is just you leaving the scheme and you retiring voluntarily. Normal retirement is what most members will take, which is at your normal pension age. Your normal pension age is the same as state pension age for your care benefits. So most members of the scheme their normal pension age will be in line with their state pension age. For members with final salary benefits, those are usually payable at age 65. If you choose to retire early, so from age 55 onwards, you can retire early. You can do that. However, just to note that there are actuarial reductions applied to that. So your pension will be reduced to reflect the fact that it's being paid early and it's still going to be paid for the rest of your life. You can choose to retire late rather than early or normal retirement, which means that you want to work on past your normal pension age and not take your benefits at that point. You do have to just note that you do have to take your pension benefits from NILGOSC before age 75. So you can work on late, and in turn, if you work on later and keep your benefits in NILGOSC until you eventually retire, then there are actuarial increases that are applied to that. To note about the minimum pension age of age 55, please note that that is going to be changing from April 2028 onwards. That's increasing to 57. So there will be more information on that in the next wee while, I think, but it definitely will be increasing to 57 from April 2028. So just keep in mind, if you're thinking of retiring early in the next couple of years and you are 55, 56, bear that increase in mind. Just to show you there an example of how we apply reductions, pension reductions to your annual pension figure if you do decide to retire early and take your pension early. That is how your the reductions are applied to your pension. So if you're looking at going 1 year early before your normal pension age and taking your pension, it's 5% reductions that are applied to that annual pension figure. If you have the standard or automatic lump sum, so if you join the scheme before 1st of April 2009 and you have an automatic lump sum, that is how your lump sum is reduced as well. So it will be reduced for 1 year paid early at 2%. And you can see how it just goes up and up there. So you know, if you're retiring 10 years before your normal pension age, then you are expecting a reduction of 36% to your annual pension figure and 16% to any automatic lump sum that's payable to you. Again, just because it's still going to be payable for the rest of your life and it's being paid out a lot earlier to you than expected. Looking then at other types of retirement, so we looked at voluntary retirement, which includes early retirement, normal retirement, and late retirement. Different types of retirement are redundancy, or business efficiency. So if you're made redundant by your employer, your pension benefits are payable from age 55, rising to age 57 from April 2028 onwards. There's no reduction for early payment of benefits if you're made redundant. The cost is met by your employer. Flexible retirement is another option for retiring. So if you would prefer to retire flexibly from age 55, again, rising to 57 from April 2028, you can do that with employer consent. What that means is there must be a reduction in working hours or grade. So you reduce your working hours or your grade, you can draw some or all of your pension benefits and continue to work and contribute to the scheme. So it means you can stay in work, reduce your hours, your grade, access some or all of your pension benefits that are built up so far, and keep contributing further into the pension scheme, so continue building up pension pot in that employment. Your employer may have further terms for flexible retirement, so they may specifically say you need to drop to this level of hours, you need to at least drop your hours 50% or so on. So important to check with your employer if you are interested in flexible retirement, and it has to be with your employer's consent as well. Just to note, if you are looking at flexible retirement as well, as I say, you can draw some or all of your pension. If you have pre-1st of April 2009 benefits built up and you take flexible retirement, at the point you take flexible retirement, you have to draw all of your pre-1st of April 2009 benefits. You can then choose to draw some, all, or none of anything built up after 1st of April 2009. And as I say, you continue paying into the scheme at flexible retirement unless you choose to opt out at that point, which you can choose to do. And another type of retirement, ill health retirement. As I mentioned at the start there, one of the main scheme benefits that apply to members of the scheme is ill health retirement protection. Ill health retirement is payable at any age. You do need 2 years of scheme membership at least to be applicable for ill health retirement. Your benefits are not reduced for early payment, similar to redundancy. There is a 2-tier system that's applied to ill health retirements. There's tier 1 and tier 2. You are assessed by one of NILGOSC's independent registered medical practitioners for ill health retirement, and they will apply the 2-tier system then and say which tier you would fall into, if either. And then the enhancement per tier is by reference to your normal pension age, so how far from normal pension age you are whenever you are ill health retired. This is for those who would have to leave work at any age due to permanent ill health, which prevents them from doing their job. So if you have to retire and it's due to ill health for that reason, ill health retirement protections could apply to you. So important to talk to your employer about that if it's something that you're interested in or think that it's something that you'll have to make use of. those two tiers as well, the two-tier system. Tier 1 is when you are considered unlikely to be capable of undertaking any gainful employment before your normal pension age. And Tier 1, if you are awarded that after your assessment, you receive all of the pension benefits that you've built up, plus an enhancement of 100% of the pension that you would have built up had you been able to remain in the main section of the scheme up to your normal pension age. So it's enhanced and built up by 100%. Tier 2 then is if you're considered likely to become capable of undertaking any gainful employment before your normal pension age. So Tier 2 is where you need to retire on ill health, but you're considered likely to be able to undertake some sort of gainful employment before your normal pension age. If you are awarded Tier 2, you receive all of the pension benefits that you've built up to that point, plus an enhancement of 25% of the pension benefits that you would have built up if you had remained in the main section and continued working up to your normal pension age. Looking then at pension benefit statements, a lot of you would have hopefully received your pension benefit statements around August time. They're issued annually by the 31st of August, and you should receive them shortly after that. Please make sure that each year you check your pension benefit statement and check that your saved pension is correct for the last year. Make sure that all the figures that are on it make sense and that they look correct. If anything doesn't look correct, for example, your pay figure, make sure you contact your employer because it could be that they've potentially given us the wrong pay figure for you. Also let NILGOSC know because it could just be something that's incorrect on your benefit statement. As I mentioned at the start there, another key benefit to you as a member of the scheme is death benefits and life cover. The scheme provides protection for your family in the event of your death. So if you die in service while you're a member of the scheme, we provide protection to your family. And that is with a survivor's pension. So the survivor's pension is specifically for your spouse, civil partner, or cohabiting partner, and it's payable for the rest of that person's life. If you are not applicable in that case, so you don't have a spouse, civil partner, or cohabiting partner, there's no survivor's pension that's payable there. There's a child's pension, which is payable for any eligible children, and that's payable for the duration of them still being an eligible child. And I'll come on just to talk very quickly about what an eligible child is. So what is an eligible child? This includes a natural or adopted child. It includes a stepchild or any child accepted by the deceased member as a member of the family, and they were dependent on the member at the date of death. So any child who you accept as a member of the family and they're dependent on you at the date of your death. They also must be either under 18, over 18 and less than 23 and in full-time education, or physically or mentally impaired. So there are just a couple of things that need to be considered to I suppose, call a child an eligible child for the purpose of receiving a child's pension. We also have the lump sum death grant, which is payable in the event of your death if you die in service and as a member of the pension scheme. This is equal to 3 times your assumed pensionable pay figure, and that's adjusted if it's part-time or if you are part-time. You nominate who you would like to receive the death grant. So whereas the spouse's pension is for or the survivor's pension is for specifically a spouse, civil partner, or cohabiting partner, the lump sum death grant is payable to whoever you want to nominate it to. So you nominate who you'd like to receive it, and they are known as your beneficiaries. You can choose several beneficiaries as well, as long as the percentage of them all add up to 100%. NILGOSC does retain ultimate discretion on who ultimately receives it. Just important to note that this is just so that we can ensure that it's paid free of inheritance tax. Where at all possible, we will always ensure that, or we'll always try to ensure that it's paid to whoever you've nominated it to. It's just something that we put in place to, as I say, make sure that it's free of inheritance tax. You can record your nominated beneficiaries on My NILGOSC Pension Online. Sinead will show us that in the demo, or you can submit an LGS20 expression of wish form if you can't use My NILGOSC Pension Online. Really important to keep this updated if things change. For example, marital circumstances, if you no longer want somebody to be your beneficiary to receive that death grant, please make sure that you update that as soon as possible, because you never know when things are going to change, and ultimately it's important just to have that backup there and know that it's up to date and that your up-to-date wishes are going to be seen by us. We'll come on now to look very quickly at the NILGOSC website. I just want to show you, first of all, the APC Calculator, where you'd access that. And I also want to show you where you'd go to apply for AVCs on the Prudential website. Then after that, Sinead will show us a demo or a demonstration of My NILGOSC Pension Online, our online portal. So I'm just going to come out of the presentation quickly and open up the NILGOSC website. And let me just drag that over there. So hopefully everyone can see that there. So for the APC calculator first, so if you're interested in starting to pay additional pension contributions to NILGOSC, I'm going to go to the members area, and then I'm going to go to boosting your pension, so options for boosting your pension. And I'm going to go down to additional pension contributions or APCs, click in there. This will give you a lot of information. You can buy the additional pension of up to £8,823 per year. It'll give you the different reasons that you could be looking at paying an APC. And if you scroll very far down to the end here, you'll see under useful links, the additional pension calculator there. If you're looking at buying extra pensions, so you're just looking to buy, pay into an APC to boost your pension benefits at retirement, you're using this calculator here, so quote and apply there. If you're covering lost pension with an APC, you're choosing quote and apply there, and it'll just take you into a calculator there that you should use before you apply for an APC. So put your information in there. It'll ask you for the regular payments you want to make. So what's the frequency you want to pay towards an APC for? Do you want to do a lump sum or regular payments? And it'll give you your results in there. And again, the calculator for the lost pension, it's much the same, but it's just a different one that you use. So make sure that you're using the right calculator for the right reason. If you're not sure which APC is the right one to go for, you just open this wee link here and it will show you a flow chart there. So whether you should be covering lost pension or just buying additional pension with an APC. I then just want to show you the AVC section and where you would go to apply for an AVC and find more information on that. So instead, I'm going to go into the boosting your pension section and I'll go into additional voluntary contributions instead. And as I say, whereas APCs are payable via NILGOSC, AVCs are payable to our in-house provider, Prudential, and they're an investment. If I scroll down here, it'll say, how do I contribute to an AVC? Should you wish to explore this option, you visit Prudential's website and they have a specific section for local government pension scheme, which is what we are. So I'll click on that and show you what that looks like. So there's a bit of information here on AVCs, and then it'll ask you to look for your LGPS name, so your pension scheme name. If you go to the drop down, you should be able to find us under N. There we are. So you choose us, and then they also ask for your employers. You can scroll down and it'll ask you, right, are you a returning person who is already contributing to an AVC, or are you a new customer looking to apply? And if you're looking to apply, you're just clicking there on applying for an AVC plan. Prudential's website then takes you through the whole outline of how to apply for an AVC and the whole process of it, and they'll give you more information on their website then as well. Okay, Sinead, if you want to go through the demo now of My NILGOSC Pension Online.
Hey, everybody can see that, Leah? Can you see that? My screen, yeah?
Let me see. Yes, I can.
Yeah. Okay, all right, thanks. Okay, everybody, so what I'm going to do now is just take you through a quick demonstration of our online portal. So how you get to that is if you go to our main website, which is nilgosc.org.uk, you'll see up the top here, we have our register and the sign in button. So I'm just going to click on the register button here, and that'll take us through to the online portal. We've had the online portal for several years now, but back in February, we got a bit of an upgrade. So it'll look a bit different. Hopefully you think it looks better. So whenever you go to register or log in, you have a couple of different options. There's the login button if you've been in before. If you've never registered for the old site, so say you're brand new, you never registered for our old system, you can click here to I've never registered for My NILGOSC Pension Online. Go through, it'll ask you some personal details to get registered. Or if you were registered on our old system, but you haven't logged into the new system yet, you can click this middle option, which is to basically transfer your account across. Now, if you're going to do that, it will ask you for your username and password on the old system. There is a forgot your password section, but if you can't remember that, sometimes it's just as easy to go into I've never registered before and just start again, and it just sort of resets your account. So I'm going to log in here. I have a demo account set up. So this is a fake person with fake numbers and information. So whenever you log in, this is what your dashboard looks like. So a bit different from the old one. Before I get started, I'm just going to point out one of the big differences from the old site. So anybody who had the old one, you would remember up in the top corner here, there was a little green arrow with a drop down. And that's if you have more than one job or more than one pension record with us, you flicked between your accounts. So say you have, I think this account, they have like a active account with us and they also have deferred pension. You would go through and you would have a separate dashboard, like this homepage dashboard for each record you have with us. The way this new system works is it's all combined into one. And there are certain areas throughout the site where you choose which job you're talking about on the bits that it's applicable. So like your personal details, they're the same for everything. But if you want to look at your annual benefit statements, you flick between your accounts if that's relevant. I'll show you as we go through. Hopefully it'll make more sense when I'm actually doing it. So the first one we'll go into is documents and uploads. There's 3 sections here. So there's files sent to me. So that's things that we'll send to you. So for example, this member, there's their membership pack when they joined the scheme. So if we ever send anything to you, it'll be in here. You can then also upload files to us. So for example, if we ask you for your birth certificate, say you get married and we need a copy of your marriage certificate, you can take a picture of it on your phone and you can upload it straight to us. The great thing about this is this connects through to our pensions administration software. It's fully secure, so you don't have to send anything in the post. We don't recommend you send stuff by email that has your personal details in it because it's not secure, whereas doing it this way is fully secure. It comes straight through to us and straight onto your account. It's very easy to use. You just click on upload files. You select which job. This is one of the bits where I said about what job is it for. Obviously, if it's a birth certificate or marriage certificate, you can select any job because it's relevant to all of them. But if you're sent us something to do specifically with one record or other, you select which one. And then you just click Browse Files, go through your files, say I have a test birth certificate there. And then you can just click Start Uploading. If you've got more than one, say you've took a picture on your phone and there's like 2 or 3 pictures, you can just then click to add more files. I'll not upload it now, but you just, very easy to do. And the final one in there is scheme documents and forms. So this is where we'll just upload generic documents for everyone to see. So you can see there are newsletters this year, annual benefit statements, guidance notes, that type of thing. Okay, so the next tile we have then is our annual benefit statement tile. Hopefully everybody got an email this summer or a letter to say that your statement was online, unless you've requested it by post. So this is what your statement looks like. Again, this is one of these sections where you can flick between. So as you can see, this person is currently a payroll manager. They started that job in 2008. But previously before that, they were an admin officer from 2000 to 2008. So they have an active pension with us and they also have a deferred pension that's sitting there. So you select which job. And you can also select which year. The benefit statements will go back several years. So we're going to do this year's. Page 1 is your pension forecast. And again, the great thing about the online system and the benefit statements is they're personalised for you. So you'll see this member here has career average membership and final salary membership. If you only have career average, it won't show you the final salary stuff. So it's all personalised to you. So what we can do here is tells you when you joined the scheme. It tells you your normal pension age. I think someone asked in the chat what was their normal pension age. It'll be different for everybody depending on what age they are and when they joined the scheme. So this person's is 67. So it says if you retire at 67, you're on course to receive a pension of just over £13,500. Now that assumes that you're on the same pay that you're on now and that you don't have any breaks or anything like that. So it gives you an idea. And then that tells you your rough monthly income. What we also show down here is the options for lump sum. So Leah talked a bit about this. So this member has membership before 2009. So as you can see, they have an automatic lump sum here of £2,800. So what we're saying is if you take the standard benefits, you'll get your £13,500 a year plus your nearly £3,000 of a lump sum. What we then show is the maximum conversion. So if you wanted to take the maximum lump sum, that would bring it up to just under 60,000 as a lump sum, and your pension would drop to just below 9,000 a year. So we sort of show those two options. Throughout the statement, you'll also see these little drop downs, and these all have extra information. So depending, it's up to you. You can either, we've sort of provided the headline figures up here, but if you want to delve into more information, you can click through those. So down here, there is a continued pension breakdown, and also you can see that up here. So there's 3 sections of your statement. So I'll click into here. So this is then more your current value. So it shows you how much it's increased by this year, brings your current pension value. So this is at the 31st of March. Your benefit statement is always at the 31st of March each year. So at 31st of March, it was worth 7,000. And as you can see, this person has a guaranteed tax-free lump sum, and that's because they have membership before 2009. If you don't have that, you won't see this little section. Again, as I mentioned, you can click in and you can see lots of more information. There's loads of detail in here if you want to read it. And that just shows basically how we've calculated this £7,000 figure. We show your career average is made up. You've got £4,000 career average. Final salary, we've got the 2009 to 2015 and also the pre-2009, and you just add those all up to get the 7,000. Again, if you don't have, say, find this pre-09, you won't see this section. So it's really good. It's all personalised to you. And the final bit of your benefit statement is death benefits. So hopefully none of us ever need these, but it's just a benefit of the scheme that, for example, the lump sum death grant is if you happen to die while an active member of the scheme, your loved ones will receive usually 3 times your annual salary. So it'll show you what that is there. And then it also shows you the survivor's pension. As Leah mentioned before, your lump sum death grant, that's the one where you nominate who you want to receive it. Anybody can get that. It can be your partner, your children, your mum, your dad, your sister, a charity, a neighbour. You can nominate whoever you want to receive that. And I'll show you how to do that on the next slide. The annual survivor's pension is only applicable if you have a husband, a wife, a civil partner, or a cohabiting partner that you've been with long term. I think it's more than 2 years. So if you're single, divorced, or widowed, this will show up as 0. It's also important to point out some of the questions we get in the past is, so there's some people in the scheme that maybe have been separated, maybe for a long time, 10, 20 years, but they're not actually divorced. And that will then, because they're still married, this survivor's pension would go to their husband or wife because they're not actually divorced. So it's just something to be aware of. So that's your death benefits, and I'll show you then in the next section how we can nominate our beneficiaries for this section. So you can't nominate someone necessarily for this one. It's just an automatic payment. So this is the Manage Your Beneficiaries tile here. You can go in, again, make sure your nominations add up to 100%. You can add as many beneficiaries. You can add new ones down here. If you already have some on our system, they'll show up here. You can delete them. You can click in and edit. So we're asking for the person's name, their relationship to you, their date of birth, the percentage you want to give them, and then it's helpful to give us some of their information. In case the worst happens, it means we have their information to contact them. And then you can also see that they've given, so this looks like 10% they're given, looks like to their spouse, and then 90% to their spouse, and then they're giving 10% to one of their children. So again, you can go in and play about with that and make sure that you go in and do that. Hopefully we don't need it, but if we do, it just makes things a lot easier if you've recently submitted those details. Okay, so the next one we have then is our benefit calculators. And these ones, this is probably our most popular feature on the site. The main thing people want to know is how early can I afford to retire? And for that, you're using the voluntary retirement calculator. Again, this section is going to look different for everybody depending on your scheme membership. So if you remember, this person has an active record and they also had a deferred record. So this one here, the deferred pension payment is because they have a deferred record. If you only have an active record, you won't have that calculator. So the voluntary retirement calculator, I'll just show you this one. They all work in a similar way. So what this is doing, this is directly contacting our pension administration software, which is really good because this is going to give you an accurate quotation. The figures you're going to get from this calculator are the exact same figures that our staff will give you. The great thing about this is you can go in, you can do as many quotes as you want, you can do it in your own time, and you get the results instantly. If you contact us and ask us to post you out a written quote, it'll take weeks. So we're really trying to encourage people to go on, play about with this, because you can change the day, the month, the year, you can do it as many as you want. So if we look at this, again, this is going to ask you which job are you talking about. I think somebody asked in the chat if they had several jobs. Can you get a quote for everything together? The way it works, you'll need to do them separately and then just simply add them up, because you could take your different bits separately. So this we're using for the payroll manager. It automatically defaults to the normal retirement age. So this is where you're not going to receive any reductions. So this person's is 2041. So I'm going to say I would like to go 2 years early. So I'm just going to change that. Or a lot of you may be on this at the same time. And let me just go back out. One of the great things about this online system is that it connects directly to our administration software. So it's not giving you old data, it's talking in real time to our software, which is great and gives you accurate information. But the problem is, because we have so many people on the call, I imagine a lot of you are following along with me. So if a lot of you are in this calculator, then you're going to get that error. So can I ask, just for the purpose of the demo, can you come out of the calculator tab, just so I can quickly do this, and then we can go back in? Because so many of you, if everybody's asking for the calculation at the same time, our software can get overwhelmed a little bit. So there we go. Thank you, everybody. Sorry, you can go back in a wee minute. I say pros and cons of it speaking in real time to our administration software is that if too many people are on at the same time, it can sort of panic a little bit. So what I've done here is I've gone in to say I would like to retire 2 years early, and you can see what effect that's going to have on your pension. So I think for the person, the normal, whenever they were going to retire in 2041, I think it was about £13,000 was their annual pension. So you can see here, going 2 years early, it's dropped their annual pension to 11,700. Their lump sum stays the same, but that's because they have membership, remember, before 2009, so they have that automatic lump sum. And we say here, as you've chosen to retire early, the above figures have been decreased by, and it'll tell you how much it's being decreased by. So again, you can go in there, you can change the day, the month, the year, and do it as many times as you want and get that information. We're also showing you, like in the benefit statement, the maximum lump sum option. So if we wanted to take the maximum lump sum would be 51,400, and that would drop the annual pension to 7,700. The other great thing that we can do down here is we can play about with this lump sum. So we've shown you there the sort of minimum and maximum. You can play about with this slider and see whatever way, basically all the options in the middle. You can also type in. So for example, say you need £10,000 to pay off your mortgage. So you want a lump sum of 10,000, you can type that in and it'll show you exactly what it will reduce your pension to. So it's 11,173. So you can play about with that. Again, if you contact us for us to post you out a quote, you really just need to give us one date, one lump sum option. Whereas if you do it on the online system, you can play about with it and put as many options in as you want. One thing to point out is these figures don't include the value of your AVC fund. So they do. So that's why I'd say it's that illustration only, because if you have an AVC fund, they're separate. Again, I think someone in the chat might have asked, can you get a quote with your AVC fund on top? I'm not sure if our admin team do that. I know the benefit statements for the AVC funds would have come out in the summer there. So if you get your statement, you can have a look at that or contact Prudential. Leah might know the answer if our admin team do quotes with AVCs. It's just because we're not in charge of those. I don't know that we have that information. Anyway, that's the voluntary retirement calculator. The other two calculators are very similar. So the next thing I'm going to look at here, hopefully this works through, is the retirement planner. So this is a brand new feature. We didn't have this on the old site. Basically what this is for is to get you start thinking about your retirement in advance. So don't start thinking about it a few years before you're going to retire. Try and start thinking about it many, many years in advance. So Pensions UK have done some research based with the independent or with Loughborough University, and they have come up with some figures of what they think you will need for retirement. Now, please take these figures with a pinch of salt. We didn't come up with these. They're UK wide. They're not Northern Ireland specific, but it just gives you a rough idea, something to look towards, to see what type of retirement do you want to have, and are you on track to achieve that? So they've given us 3 options here: essentials covered, living comfortably and luxurious. There's also a little toggle up here for if you're single or in a couple. As you can see, when you click that, the figures change. So the living comfortably, if you're single, they're saying you need about £2,000 to £3,000 a month. If I change that to a couple, it ups it because there's 2 of you. So I'm going to go in. Obviously, we would love to have the luxurious retirement, but let's be more realistic and go into the living comfortably for now. So I'm a couple. I'm going to go into living comfortably. And what this does is they have pre-populated what they think you're going to spend in retirement. Now, this assumes that you don't have any rent or mortgage costs, but what you can do is you can play about with this. And if you know you do have any costs, you can add them in. You can say, oh, well, I've got £200 to pay on rent a month, but I'll not go on holiday that much. My car's maybe a bit less, but I give more, spend more on lifestyle and leisure. You can basically play about with this to suit you of what your lifestyle is and what you would like. Once you've played about with that, you can hit continue. And what this will do is this is going to show you here your predicted income against what your lifestyle will need. Now, don't panic in this situation. As you can see, this is far short. That's because we've picked the couple. So what this is for the 2 of you, you'll need 2,800. So if you know that your pension's worth 1,200 a month, but your partner also has a pension of £1,000 a month, you can add that in here in the other pension section. So say you know that they have £1,000 a month. So there we go. That brings it up, looking a bit more healthy. If you have a part-time job, any additional income, any saved money. The other thing we want to remember to add in is your state pension. So if you're getting the full state pension, it's about £1,000 a month. So actually, if I change that to 2,000, if that brings in my pension, my other half's pension, and my state pension, actually, it's looking a lot better. Now, what you can also do here is you can also play about with the retirement age. Say, well, oh, remember I wanted to go 2 years early. So let's see if this will go through. If there's not, yeah, okay. So I want to go 2 years early. So see the way that's dropped my predicted income down a wee bit. Still looking pretty good. But what I need to remember as well is if I'm going to go 2 years early, my state pension isn't going to kick in then until another 2 years. So I might have to drop that back down. And can I survive for those 2 years until my state pension kicks in with a wee bit less? So again, the figures aren't provided by us. It's just meant to get you thinking. Have a look, play about with it. You can save your retirement goal, and if you save it, it means that every time you click in, it'll show up this page, or you can return to your lifestyle expenses and reset and start over. So it's just something to get you thinking about retirement. If you get to a point where you think, do you know what, I'm not going to have enough for the retirement I want, that's when you can start looking into paying additional contributions like Leah talked about, the AVCs and the APCs. Okay, so the next one that we have then is the latest pension value. This is pretty much what it says on the tin. This is the current value of your pension. For a lot of people, this will match what's on their annual benefit statement. It depends who your employer is. So what we're doing, our employers used to give us information once a year at the 31st of March every year, and that's what we use for your benefit statement. What we're starting to do now is move our employers onto an online system where they'll give us information every month. So if you're with a smaller employer, this current pension value is more likely to be up to date, as August or September, rather than back at March. We haven't got them all on board yet. So if you're with one of the bigger employers like the Education Authority, TransLink, some of the councils, your current pension value might still be sitting at the 31st of March. But as the next year or two goes on, we're hoping to get all our employers on there. Breaks it down here, what your final salary and care benefits are. So both of those added up equal your current pension value. Again, we have all these little drop downs everywhere where if you want more information, you can go in and have a look. And the last tile that we have at the moment is details and settings. So this is, first one's your personal information. Really important, go in here and make sure it's right. All this information is given by your employer, so just go in, make sure everything's correct. This is, remember I talked about the partnership status. That's why we have legal partnership status in here, because some people are separated for 20 years, but they're actually still married. Your contact details, phone number, email address, and address. If they're different, you need to update them. You can actually do that yourself through the online system, which is clicking there, and that'll update our system. That's your personal details. We've got the employment details in here. So the first one I'll go to is the membership details. Again, you can decide if it's relevant, which job you're talking about. This just tells you details about your current job. I think somebody in the chat might have asked, when did I join the scheme? This is where you'll find that information. You've got a start date and the date you joined the scheme. For a lot of people, they'll be the same. For some people, say, for example, you joined the scheme or you joined your employer, but you opted out of the scheme for a few months, your date join scheme might be slightly later, but that's all your information in there. It says whether you're part-time, full-time. There's then information about service breaks and past service details. So you can see this person went on strike for a day in 2011. This person transferred in membership. Again, I think someone else in the chat might have asked if they've transferred in their membership. If you go into this section, you'll be able to see that transfer, and you'll be able to see this person transferred this in, I think it's 2007. So it brought them 2 years of membership. So you can go and have a look in there if you've transferred in and you want to make sure, is that included? As you can see, if I go to the admin officer one, they don't have any service breaks or transfers in. So again, it's great, it's personalized to you. So if you've got a transfer, it'll show it. If not, it won't. Okay, so that's the membership details. Financial details then, again, you can select the job if you've got more than one. Tells you your pay, really important to check this. This information comes from your employer. Make sure it's correct. If your pay is wrong, we're banking the wrong amount of pension for you. So make sure that that's correct. It'll also show you your contribution rate. The other thing in here, it doesn't affect too many people, which is why it's a collapsible fee, this annual allowance. If you're affected by annual allowance, you're more than likely you already know about it. This is whenever you pay your contributions into the scheme, they're taken out of your salary before you're taxed, so you get tax relief on them. You're only allowed to have so much tax relief, so the government will only let you have so much tax relief. So if your pension savings grow by more than £60,000 in a year, as I said, it does not affect very many people, then you have to pay extra tax. So if you look in here, you will see that this person's, their pension savings have grown by £6,500 this year. So 53,500 of unused allowance. That's what most of ours will look like. So again, most people do not need to worry about this. And if it's something where your figures are close, we send you out a statement in October every year, and you'll usually know about it if you're affected by that. And the last bit then is your communication preferences. So this is where we've obviously got this nice new online system. We're trying to encourage as many people as possible to use it. However, if you'd rather get your pension benefit statement or whatever, or your newsletters by post, you can go in here and you can change that. Or if you're set to post, you can change it to electronic. You can also, if you have any additional needs, if you need your stuff in large print, translated to a different language, in audio or braille, you can tell us in there. And that's me. That's just a quick, oh, sorry, the last thing, there is a contact us button. I think, again, someone that said they had questions after this, they wanted to send through. You can go in here, select the job they refer to, select your question type, and you can send your questions in there. And again, that'll send it directly through to our software system. You can put personal information in there. We wouldn't advise you do that if you're sending a regular email. So if you need to contact us, you can do it through there. So I think that's me, Leah, if you want to take back.
Looking at how much money do I need for retirement. So again, this is all about Pension Awareness Week and trying to make you as aware of your pension as possible and how to achieve the kind of lifestyle that you ultimately would like in retirement. Sinead would have showed us the retirement planner on My NILGOSC Pension Online there, which is very similar to what I'm showing on the screen here. The information on the retirement planner comes from the same place, the retirement living standards. And as Sinead, I think, mentioned there, that's all based on independent research by by Loughborough University. They've been developed to help individuals basically picture what kind of lifestyle they could have in retirement and the costs that would be involved in that lifestyle. The figures that are shown on the screen are estimated expenditure in a year, not required income. So I wouldn't look at them and say, that's how much I need to be earning each year in retirement to cover that kind of lifestyle. It's actually supposed to be, this is how much I could expect to have to spend on that lifestyle to achieve that sort of lifestyle in retirement. So you can see there it's separated into single households or one-person household, or couple households, or two-person households, and it shows you the minimum lifestyle standard, the moderate lifestyle standard, and the comfortable lifestyle standard. And that's just in terms of the minimum one, covering all your needs with some leftover for fun at the end. Moderate is looking at a bit more financial security and flexibility to spend some money, and comfortable, then the top one, is more financial freedom and some luxuries. And again, that's showing you the expenditure for a single person household or for a couple household, what you could expect to be paying to achieve that lifestyle there in retirement. Just to touch on the state pension, of course, we are the local government pension scheme, so it's your NILGOSC pension that we would be discussing with you, but important to be aware of your state pension as well. The current full rate of the new state pension is £230.25 per week. That turns into about £11,973 per year. To be applicable for the full rate of the new state pension, you're looking at 35 years of national insurance contributions to get that full rate. Some people may have gaps in their national insurance contributions, so they're not able to make up those 35 years fully. If you are somebody with gaps, say for example, you were out of work for a couple of years and then rejoined the workforce, you may have national insurance payment gaps from that time that you're out of work. You can check this and look into potentially paying further national insurance contributions, so extra national insurance contributions, to the government to cover those gaps that are left. And there's a link there that you can click on whenever you get the slide deck later, to go on to gov.uk to look at boosting or covering those NI gaps. The payment of your state pension, really important to remember, it's not automatic. So whenever you come to retire, you would think that potentially you would be told, here's your state pension, and now that you've retired. It's not automatic, so you need to make sure that you claim it yourself. You go online and return the claim form that is available on gov.uk, and then you can claim your state pension that way. Similar to your NILGOSC benefits, you can defer payment, so you can effectively take it later than intended. You can defer payment of your state pension, and if you defer it, it is increased by 1% for every 9 weeks that it's deferred, which works out to roughly 5.8% of an increase to your state pension for every year that you defer it for. A few things I want to cover. Tax implications. We get a lot of questions about tax, when tax is applied, when tax is going to be applied. There are some tax limits that will be applicable for your pension savings, and the three main ones are listed here. The first one is annual allowance. This will only affect a small number of members. Most members won't be affected by this. The annual allowance is basically the amount of pension growth that you can have in any year without attracting extra tax charges. That is currently set at £60,000 for most members. A lot of members aren't going to be building up more than £60,000 in pension savings each year. But people that are, or it's anything above £60,000 a year, they will usually be contacted by us to say that they have breached that annual allowance, and they will be given options for what to do with that. There's also the lump sum allowance to be aware of if you're looking to take a lump sum at retirement, so looking to give up any of your pension for a lump sum. There is a cumulative limit of £268,275 on the tax-free part of lump sums that are paid at retirement. So again, a lot of people probably wouldn't breach that, but just something to be aware of there. There's also the lump sum and death benefits allowance, which again is just a cumulative limit that's applied of £1,073,100 on the total amount of the tax-free part of any lump sums and lump sum death benefits added into that. Okay, so just 3 bits of tax implications to be aware of. Of course, this week is all about maximising your pension awareness, so a few things to be mindful of and a few helpful links that hopefully will help you get a bit more involved in your pension and saving for retirement. Firstly, there is a link there for gov.uk section of their website to trace any lost pensions if you're aware that there are pension funds that you may have been a member of years ago and for other employments, and you are not sure exactly where you would have had those benefits built up in and what has happened to those benefits. Important to try to claim those at retirement so you're not missing out on any of your pension pots in other funds. So you can try to trace lost pensions via that link there. You can request a state pension quote and check your state pension age as well at gov.uk/check state pension. You can keep track of your spending now and in retirement. MoneyHelper is really, really good for this. It's a great resource and it's free. They have a website that's linked there, moneyhelper.org.uk. Lots and lots of resources online there. Two ones that we always try to push members towards is the budget planner, which is a very, very handy tool, and also the Money Midlife MOT, which basically you put your information currently into it and the sort of things that you're looking for your lifestyle for retirement, and it'll tell you, it'll kind of measure up for you where you're at now financially and how things could improve if you need them to. Sinead would have showed us the demo of My NILGOSC Pension Online there. Lots of different things that you can do on there. So we really, really do urge you to get onto My NILGOSC Pension Online if you're not registered and using it yet. Things like nominating your beneficiaries for your death grant by filling in the expression of wish section on the My NILGOSC Pension Online. You can calculate the projections for your retirement using our calculators. And also if you joined NILGOSC in the last year, then you can look at uploading paperwork there to apply for a transfer in of any previous pension benefits built up in another fund. And if we have sent you any paperwork to do with combining your records, then you can upload those documents via My NILGOSC Pension Online as well there. If you have any private or personal pension queries or AVC queries, you can also contact MoneyHelper's PensionWise service for this, and they will allow you to speak to a pension representative from PensionWise. You'll usually be given an appointment to discuss whatever you want to discuss about your pension. Also, something to make you aware of coming soon, we have something called pension dashboards. This isn't a NILGOSC initiative, it's actually a government initiative. It'll be basically an online interface where you can access all of your pension information, your different pension benefits from across different pension schemes, all in the one place securely as well. There will be more news on this to come, so you will hear more about this. I believe it's due to go live within the next year. Please make sure, I've given you a lot of links there on the screen, please make sure you don't click on any unknown links or adverts about pensions in Google searches if they pop up, because they could be a scam. More on this coming in the next slide now. Please beware of pension scams. They're becoming more and more common, unfortunately, as more and more people are using the internet and moving to online. Just be mindful of the warning signs always. Contact out of the blue about your pension is illegal. So really important to realise that it's not just a nuisance, it's actually illegal. Please report the company that has contacted you out of the blue to the Information Commissioner's Office or the ICO. Another warning sign is if you're guaranteed high returns on your pension benefits, if you are guaranteed access before age 55, if you are guaranteed any time limited offers, so if there's a sense of urgency applied to it, you have to sign up today to get this really, really good offer for your pension benefits that you'll build up with us. If there's a time limited offer applied to it, it's probably going to be a pension scam. And again, if there's upfront cash incentives to make it really, really attractive to you, again, the odds are you're looking at a pension scam. If you think you have been scammed or you are thinking that potentially somebody has tried to scam you to do with your pension, please report them, all scams, to Action Fraud, and there's the telephone number for Action Fraud there. What we always say at NILGOSC is if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. A few things to remember lastly, please do register for My NILGOSC Pension Online. Really, really good free service that's part of your NILGOSC membership. Please remember to tell us about any changes to your personal circumstances. That includes anything to do with your contact details, your email, your postal address, your phone number. And please tell us about any changes to your marital status or your surname. And the great thing is that you can update those things via My NILGOSC Pension Online and save yourself having to lift the phone, email, or send in paper copies of things, or leave notes in reception and so on. Please remember that if you have joined in the last year, if you've joined NILGOSC in the last year, you have 12 months from the date of joining NILGOSC to request and accept a transfer in of your previous pension benefits. The application for that is via an LGS8 form that's available on our website. Please remember to nominate your death grant beneficiaries on My NILGOSC Pension Online and keep those up to date as much as you can. Or alternatively, if you can't do it via My NILGOSC Pension Online, please complete an LGS20 expression of wish form. Lastly, please make sure you check your annual benefit statement when this is released to you each year. Make sure everything looks correct. If anything doesn't look correct, especially your pay figure for the year, please let your employer know, and in turn let NILGOSC know then as well, so we can make sure that that is corrected. I've left a wee link there for when you have the slide deck later on. It's a link to a section of our website just telling you certain things that you need to let us know if they change, so your personal circumstances there. That is us at the end now. There's a wee slide here about how to contact us. Lots of different ways to contact us. You can look for more information on our website. You can contact us by email. That's our general email address there. And if you email that, they will ensure that it goes to the correct department within NILGOSC. You can telephone us on the number there. You can visit us in person. Please try to make an appointment rather than dropping in, just to make sure that there is a admin officer available to speak to you at the time. That's our address there. Also, please remember that you can communicate with us via My NILGOSC Pension Online as well. You can update your information there. You can upload documents to us there as well. We'll come to the part now where we have any questions. I do have a feedback form. I'm going to make sure I post the link for that in the slides whenever, or along with the slides in the email that I sent to everybody who has attended today after the session. We're going to have to end there today. Any further questions in the Q&A or the chat will be answered in time, and I will send out these slides this afternoon to all the attendees, and the recording will be made available hopefully in the next week or so on our website. Thank you all very much for coming today. Those of you who've remained for questions, thank you. I'm going to end the call now. Any further questions that I haven't dealt with, please do feel free to keep putting them in the chat and the Q&A, because I'll keep checking that after the session's ended today. Okay, thank you very much for coming. Bye everyone.
Thanks everybody. Bye.